Hello, beautiful people. This is Marissa Monique. This is part 2 of working through a breakup. These are always really challenging experiences, really, really tough. I've been through my share of breakups, and when I was 15 or 16, it felt terrible. It still feels terrible as a grown up, but there is hope. So let's go over some things. I want to remind you that to not forget that one of you actually exited the relationship, like chose to exit the relationship for a reason. Never forget this, that somebody felt strong enough to actually pull the plug. There are some answers and there is a statement when someone feels strong enough to say, this is it. A lot of times we're guided by nostalgia and imagination when we're breaking up or after the breakup as we're processing through our healing. And it can cause us to believing that someone was better than they actually were. It's called idealizing them, idealization. I talk about that in part 1. But the bottom line is that you broke up. And so it's time to heal and move on. I encourage everyone to document their life and their thoughts in journaling. For example, I have one right here. Yeah. Get you a big book and write your heart out. My therapist a long time ago told me, he advised me to, that it's actually more like therapeutic and cleansing when it comes to getting your thoughts, out of your mind. Because sometimes they're just hanging out in there and we're like kind of spinning because we're not able to organize them. We're trying to keep organizing them. And so the reasons are floating all over the place and our thoughts are floating all over the place. And so a lot of times actually just picking up a book and actually physically writing, not typing, but physically writing will actually help you organize those thoughts. And don't forget that you don't need to follow some protocol with your journal. There doesn't need to be some great organizational factor with your journal. It's your journal, folks. So you get to say, hey, I love so-and-so this day, but I hate them this day. And because of this, and it literally, your journaling can be 2 sentences or it can be 200 sentences. It's really up to you. The important thing is that you hold yourself accountable to do it on a consistent basis so that you're not becoming cloudy in your mind and your heart and your spirit and in your emotions because you're not working it out. Sometimes we get to a place where we're talking so much about it to someone when we actually just need to write it down and not bother the people around us. It's good to have a support system, but sometimes you have to have some resolve in doing a lot of this work yourself. So like I said, I encourage everyone to document their life, their thoughts by journaling, the good and bad moments. It helps you recall the joy, the frustration. And sometimes when we are idealizing someone, we can flip back into our journal and be like, wait a minute, that's the reason that I had to move past this or let this go or that they let me go or whatever it may be. So don't forget that. Let's see, let me move on. So also getting over breakup requires you to kind of shift your mindset to kind of reevaluate some of the thoughts that you thought about love and everything. Because sometimes we end up finding ourselves in a place where the love isn't really love. It's just infatuation, or it's an unhealthy or infatuation. And we have to redefine love once we are out of it. And so that means stop looking at it like something that you lost and start looking at it as something that you learned from. And when you learn from something, that is a beautiful thing, because then you haven't really lost something because you actually gained some knowledge in that process. If you feel like you lost love, it was never real love. That's what Tony Gaskin says. He said, real love does not leave. Real love does not end. Real love stands. It fights. It gets stronger. So don't you be a liar when it concerns love. Don't make it something that it's not, because love doesn't hurt. It doesn't, abuse us. It doesn't do any of those things. The second thing that we need to do when we're getting over a breakup is get new knowledge. So as I said before, you kind of have to reprogram yourself. And so you do that by listening to life coaches or booking a life coach on mymentor.life, like me, Marissa Monique, or listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube videos. If you need to hire a counselor or a therapist, please do that. I really advocate for that because a lot of us aren't doing the work that we need with someone that is, completely uninvested in the situation. So make sure you're getting new knowledge and almost becoming a student of relationships and studying what healthy relationships are so that you can kind of erase the the narrative or the definition of what a relationship was to you before, because it may have definitely been unhealthy. So, and that means that you are in control of your growth and you have to be committed to doing something that is associated with your growth, like every day or every week. Let me look at my notes. Let's see. Yes, you have to replace what you knew about love and relationships with new knowledge of what relationships actually are. And so that is, going and seeking out information and learning about experts on love and relationships. And don't, overwhelm yourself with all of this information. Just like find one or two people and then find a few books that you can rely on to help you redefine what love is. The next way that you can work on working through and getting over a breakup is to cut all ties. And this is hard for some people. A lot of people don't exit relationships properly because they can cut ties with the person per se, but they have trouble cutting ties with like their sisters or the mutual friends or their mama or their daddy or whatever. Sometimes they share a dog or a cat or whatever. Sometimes you have to rehome those pets. Sometimes you have to, cut the people off that you mutually are interacting with to get somewhere for yourself, to take control of your own healing. And so that may mean, getting rid of some of these emotional ties that are around the themselves. So that's a big one. The fourth thing that you need to do to work through a breakup and to get over a breakup is to check your friend circle. Also what Tony Gaskin says. He says that to make sure that the people around you aren't causing you to cope in an unhealthy way. So they're not encouraging you to go out and get drunk or, telling you the easiest way to get over someone is to get under someone. They're not trying to throw a whole bunch of new prospects at you. They're actually just participating in the healing process with you and encouraging you to stop and slow down and to take your time. And they're being available to listen, and they're not trying to drag you into their own, unhappiness or anything like that, that they're not in a place of loneliness, desperation, being miserable themselves, and they're just trying to help you join the club with them, that they're actually in a healthy place. So if somebody is exhibiting that kind of energy, then make sure they kind of stay a little further away from you when you are actually going through a breakup, because you don't need that kind of negativity around you. The last thing that you need to do in order to work through a breakup is to get busy. Give your days direction is also something that Tony Gaskin says. And he says, build your body, your brand, your brain. Like I said, create new knowledge, work on your body. That always makes you feel good. Get those happy hormones flowing. Work on a brand, work on some, brainstorm some things that you want to tackle business-wise that are authentically you. You just want to commit to enhancing yourself, enhancing your lifestyle, enhancing your business, and create days that are more full of productivity so that by the time the day comes, you feel very like accomplished and like you were able to do things on your own and that you didn't necessarily need anyone around you to do those, but that you take pride in doing that stuff for yourself. Anyway, I hope this serves you well. This is Marissa Monique. Take care.